Now we have Module 6 featuring myself, Michael Lezaja, and we're talking about the role of a buyer's agent, how important they are, the difference between them, due diligence, negotiation, asset selection, a whole bunch of other useful information for you as an investor. So I've been a property investor for 20 years now, a buyer's agent for 11 years. I scaled my own portfolio, buying 14 properties in 12 months. And I have helped hundreds and hundreds of investors over the years and scaled many portfolios myself. And I want to share as much as possible in this. So I hope you enjoy. Role of a buyer's agent. So what is a buyer's agent and why do they exist? Well, a buyer's agent is the opposite of a real estate agent. They are advocating for the purchaser, not for the seller. The sales agent is there selling the property on behalf of the seller, and they represent the seller's best interests. The buyer's agent is there to represent the buyer's best interests. But unfortunately, the majority of buyers go unrepresented. They don't understand negotiation. They don't understand contract terminology. They don't know the things that they're saying to the agent at the time they're saying them is giving away their position and or their lack of experience. And the sales agent knows this. And a lot of times the buyer gets taken advantage of. So essentially the buyer's agent is there to level the playing field, okay? Because the seller's agent or the selling agent is there to represent the vendor, right? The person selling the home. So he's representing them, their best interests, and essentially trying to get them top dollar. It's not their goal to look out for you. It's not their goal. And quite often they don't know property investment anyway. It's not their job to give you property investment advice. It's not up to them to tell you what's a good area and what's best for your best interest, right? Whereas a buyer's agent is there to level up that playing field. The buyer's agent, a skilled, competent, experienced buyer's agent, is there to level up that playing field and to give you that advantage so that you're not being taken advantage of. The buyer's agent understand what constitutes a good deal, what's value for money. They know how to talk to the agent. They know what terms should be in your contract of sale, obviously liaising with a solicitor as well. But in general, that buyer's agent that represents you will be on your side and will advocate for you achieving the best result, not just in that transaction, but in your portfolio build. Because, and this is what you should be doing, is you should be looking for a buyer's agent that's actually achieved the things you want to achieve. And if you're here looking to build a portfolio, which is what this course is about, then a buyer's agent who's done those things will be extremely beneficial to you to give you that unfair advantage on everyone else. So quite often in multiple offer scenarios, we'll see 5 or 6 offers, but the one with a buyer's agent representing them, knowing how to negotiate, ascertaining what type of, offer that they want and really playing the game, they tend to get information out of the agent and they tend to win. So it essentially levels up that playing field and they are your advantage. So they're on your side. And that's what a buyer's agent is. And now it's becoming more recognized in Australia now, just like it is in the US, and people are starting to see the value in a good buyer's agent because making a mistake in real estate is definitely a costly one. Now, a good buyer's agent will not only help you with strategy to achieve the things that you want to achieve, but a good buyer's agent is going to save you time and stress because they are impartial. And quite often I'm super calm when going about what it is that I do as a buyer's agent because I don't have any emotional investment in anything. It's purely analytical. Does it fit the strategy? Is it a good deal? Is the agent playing ball and can we get it at the right price and so on and so on? Is there any risks associated and so on? It is not something that I come into the transaction with thinking about, emotionally or with a bias. I come into that transaction really looking to just get the best outcome for my client, save them time because I'm doing all the work for them and help them achieve that success because each property needs to get you to the next property and so on and so on. So that's what a good buyer's agent will do. Another one that a good buyer's agent will do is access to off-market and pre-market deals. Now, we use the term off-market being not on realestate.com or not on Domain or not online. Right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they're off-market. We just use the terminology off-market to encompass a wide range of properties, those that are that are just genuinely not advertised, right? So the agent might not necessarily have a contract to sell that property. He might just go approach them. That's an off market. Then you have silent listing, which we still use the term off market in Australia. The silent listing is one where the agent has an agreement, but they're just not putting it online. They're not putting it in the newspaper. They're not putting it on their website or anything like that. It's just there if the agent finds a buyer or the agent shops it around to buyer's agents. So that's a silent listing. Then you've got pre-market, where I tend to buy a lot of these as well as the off-markets and the silent listings. But the pre-market is one where the agent will contact us and say, okay, I've got this coming up. It's Monday today. I've got photos on Thursday, and we should be launching next week on Monday, right? Or Tuesday, we launch next week. I will say, okay, cool. How much is that? Any details? What's wrong with it? So on and so on. And I'll ask them all the questions. And if it's a good deal, we might try and negotiate that property well before its release onto realestate.com or domain and into the general, online in general, and essentially wrap that up before it goes online. So when you see properties that come up for sale in a boom market and they're just up for sale and they're already under contract, that's because someone snagged a pre-market deal. So the person has still paid for the marketing. They've just accepted an offer before it was launched on realestate.com. That's another reason a buyer's agent, a good buyer's agent, will be very handy, is to get you access and get you that advantage to get those deals before everyone else. So in summary, in regards to all of those, there's nothing wrong with also buying online or however you go about it. If that property is right for you and your entry-exit timeframes, that market is spot on, don't be afraid to pay market value for that. It's always good to buy an off-market deal and get it under market value. And that's what we try and do quite often. That's my favorite, actually. So wherever I can, I will look for those off-market deals. But if they're not there, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that property suits your brief, and your brief suits your portfolio acquisition plan. And then your data set is pointing you to that area. There's a whole bunch of ways you need to look at it, not just on market or off market. But if you really want to know, off market's my favorite. And whenever I can get an off market deal, there are good and bad ones. So you need to know the difference between them, because an agent will try and sell you an off market that really can't be sold to anyone and no one wants it. So you got to be careful of that. But a genuine off market, which is a quick sale or it's got problems and you can solve that, like coat of paint, flooring, it's too dirty, tenants are messy, can't go to realestate.com, won't present well, in photos, to be launched online. It's got a bunch of things wrong with it that don't look ideal or don't look display home-like. And you can get that advantage off market and get it under value. That is always my preferred method, and I love that. So definitely look out for those. And when you know how to find them, they're truly rewarding and they definitely accelerate your portfolio a lot faster. And a good buyer's agent will definitely help you access those. Now, another thing to touch on with a buyer's agent, a good buyer's agent, is there's two different buyer's agents, right? There's a general buyer's agent, which is I represent you in the search and the negotiation of your next acquisition, your next property purchase, right? There's a lot of standard or vanilla type of buyer's agents that just help, people, first home buyers get into the market, or people buying, relocating from Melbourne to Brisbane, and they just buy them, a $2 million family home in a particular area that they want to live in. So they just find that deal, they negotiate it and so on, or they go to auction for them. That's a standard type of buyer's agent. Then you have investment buyer's agents, right? So there's a lot of those as well. But in general, you need to find out who is working with you, and is that individual suited or has or achieved the things that you want to achieve. So you got to look for the experience. That's probably my biggest takeaway I can give you. So with investment buyer's agents, it's very important to look at track record, and it's very important to look at experience. Has that investment buyer's agent been doing it for a while? Are they capable of helping you achieve your goals? Well, have they achieved it for themselves? Have they achieved this for other clients? So you need to make sure that the person you're working with, or the buyer's agency you're working with, can definitely help you scale your portfolio, because they've done it for themselves and they've done it for many others. Just be super careful about being caught up with anyone who just started yesterday. And no disrespect, everyone started at some time, but I think you need to be very cautious with investing, and in particular your first property, because your first property is the important one. It's the one where it makes or breaks you. 95% of Australians who invest in real estate only ever get to one or two investment properties. Now, 1 or 2 investment properties is great and it can change your life, right? But to really scale a portfolio and to find real financial freedom, the majority of investors that are successful, the top 1%, have 5 or more. There's not a big difference. It's very achievable. And I think you really need to deal with someone who has that experience to understand how to structure this and to get you to that, because they've done it themselves, right? There's varying degrees of experience, and I think it's super important when you get started to make sure that you're not roadblocking yourself with a bad investment in an area that doesn't suit your entry exit timeframes, your portfolio acquisition strategy, and so on, because you will get stuck with the 95% on the 1 or the 2, right? So be super cautious about selecting a buyer's agent that you work with, because the buyer's agent you work with should be your partner for your acquisition portfolio. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, if you want 10 or 20 or 30, that's your call as well. If you want to just go 6 quality assets, that's an amazing amount. 6 good quality assets to change your life, that's perfect. But understand that you really want someone who's going to be on your side and has an understanding of portfolio acquisition, sets you up with a plan, and guides you every step of the way, because that is your key to success right there. So how to select a buyer's agent? There are so many buyer's agents out there, and you need to know who is the right fit for you, right? So if you're watching this course, I hope you're enjoying it, but you're more than likely interested in scaling a property portfolio. So you would be more suited to finding a buyer's agent that is investment focused, has built a portfolio of their own, has built many others, and understands how to set up a portfolio acquisition plan for you, data sets, and so on. That is your more than likely go-to. Your standard type of buyer's agent is the other type, the more vanilla type of buyer's agent that might just be a reverse real estate agent. They're there to just represent you at auction. They're there to help you buy your family home and give you that advantage in negotiation. And they have their place as well, depending on what you're looking at doing. And sometimes that could be very much beneficial. You know, there are buyer's agents that focus on a particular area or a particular affluent area, and they know all the agents and they're all good mates, and you can get an advantage dealing with one of these buyer's agents if you're buying your own occupier home. But if you're watching this course, I'm assuming you're a property investor, you're looking to scale a portfolio, so you will need to look for an experienced investment buyer's agent who can help guide you and help you every step of the way, because this isn't just about one property. Now, the first property is the most important, but in order to select the first property, to buy the first property, you need to find a buyer's agent who will help you narrow down your end goal, all right? Because we need to know where we're going. It's like when you get in a car, you put a destination in your GPS. You don't just drive around not knowing where you're going. That's the quickest way to get nowhere. So you need to know where you're going. So it's the same in property investment. Now, talk to your buyer's agent and ask them, say, hey, do you have experience doing this? Have you achieved this for yourself? Have you achieved this for your clients? And that might be, coming from your position, that might be, you know, I want to achieve $200,000 passive income in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, and I want to retire. That could be, I just want 10 properties. That could be just, I want to down pay my home and get rid of my Sydney mortgage or my Melbourne mortgage or whatever it may be. Or sometimes I have clients that are just like, hey, I just want to buy an AMG, right? So whatever it is, get that buyer's agent to help you with those goals. Set up your portfolio acquisition plan, do your data set, help you buy that number one, but also be there to help guide you and ensure that you're going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on, right? Because that buyer's agent should be experienced in getting you to your end goal.